Okay, hold on, hold on. Are we? Are we good to go? I think so. Nope. That's not right. Finally, there we go. There we go. Finally, I can see. Now I can see things are working. Oh my goodness, that was some scuff and a half. Oh, of course, there's going to be one thing that goes horribly wrong, isn't there? Welcome, everyone. I'm Dollar-Free. Oh, it's been a while since I've done a challenge run on a Saturday. I'm going to be honest. But I'm pretty happy that this is going to be the case. Let me get that off the screen. So, normally, when I first started streaming, I used to play challenge runs on Saturdays. And I took a bit of a break from that when I was playing a couple of the other games that I was playing. Most notably when I decided to play Fire Emblem. I was initially thinking of having Unicorn Overlord on the Saturday slot, but I figured it might be better on the Tuesdays. So, frees up Saturdays again for these challenge attempts. I think I'm just going to leave these settings as they are. Just making sure. Actually, I want to turn that off. And turn that off as well. Okay. So I'll explain. Dark Souls 2's lock-on is perfectly fine, but I wouldn't want to rely on it too much when you have like auto targets. So that's my first couple of things. Number one is I'm not a huge fan of these. I don't think they function very well. Dark Souls 2 does like to throw... In certain areas of the game, it does like to throw lots of enemies at you. And having auto target, auto lock on can mess you up if you need to try and evade in a specific way to avoid an attack. But then when you lock on, it shifts the direction that you face and therefore changes the direction of your roll.
Perhaps you've seen it. Maybe in a dream. A murky, forgotten land.
Here's the opening cutscene for Dark Souls 2.
A place where souls may mend your ailing mind. You will lose everything. Once branded. The symbol of the curse. An augur of darkness. Your past, your future, your very light. None will have meaning, and you won't even care. By then, you'll be something other than human. A thing that feeds on souls, a hollow. Long ago, in a walled-off land far to the north, a great king built a great kingdom. I believe they called it Drangleic. Perhaps you're familiar. No, how could you be? But one day, you will stand before its decrepit gate without really knowing why. drawn to a flame. Your wings will burn in anguish. Time after time. For that is your fate. The fate of the cursed.
And that is the introduction to Dark Souls 2. Yeah, so unlike Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 3, and even Elden Ring, this game doesn't have an overarching lore of continuing a cycle or lighting a flame. In this game, your lore is you have up a curse that will turn you into a hollow. And if you do not consume souls, you will eventually go hollow. So you are either forced into a cycle of consuming souls, or you attempt to try and find a way to break the curse. Now, this is Dark Souls 2. So far, it looks about sort of similar to what you might have expected from Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 3, Elden Ring. First things first. Dark Souls 2 is the first game to have 3 equipment slots for each hand. Right hand, 1, 2, 3. Left hand, 1, 2, 3. Also, 4 ring slots, plus your choice of armaments, arrows and bolts. So, arrows and great arrows will fit together. Bolts, well, there's only crossbow bolts. And then you have your belt slot for your 10 inventory items. As for this, obviously armor. Nothing too fancy. I'll just show off. Beautiful, aren't we? This default look is the default look for every single character who starts the game. You don't pick your character now. That's a little different from other games how it's worked. But you get to do that a bit later on. In case you're wondering what the player status looks like, this is you at level 1. Now, technically, you can try to glitch through the game and play as this. You can have fun. You won't meet any of the weapon requirements for anything. It takes a bit of working around, but if you wanted to challenge yourself, you could have fun that way. One of the things I like about the environment, Dark Souls, look at this little thing. By the way, in case you're wondering, it's not worth it. You don't do any damage, and if those guys get super aggressive, they will absolutely destroy you, like everything else, which is admittedly a funny way to go. But we are approaching the very first point of this tutorial area. Oh, by the way, here's a little warning. You see these footsteps? You know, just be careful when you're going up here. That's an ogre up there. And it's guarding. You can see that item right... Where is it? Where is it? You can get the camera just right. I get the camera just right. I don't want to get too close at the moment because if I do that, then it's going to get aggressive. Mind you, there's absolutely nothing wrong. It's funny in a way. This point in the game, unless you're going for a no-death run, it's perfectly fine to die. 1, 2. I get you to do your big roll. Right, that was your grab. Got to get used to these controls again. Alright, that's about all I wanted to do there. You can keep going further around, but there's not really much of a point. But let's outline some of the basic controls. Unlike previous... If you're more used to Elden Ring, let's talk about some of the controls here. Now, in Elden Ring, you press X on a controller to pick up an item. Here, it's A. And you don't pick up items automatically, but that is a given. But yeah, you can see just up there were the footsteps of Yoda. But there's nothing else you need to worry about here, so don't worry too much. And I'll pop down here to pick up this item just to demonstrate. You can see here it says press A. And you go through an animation to pick up the item. B is your roll button, that's your constant. And you also press and hold it to sprint. Y would be to consume items. I don't have any items, but if I were to, say, put one of these items on, this, then might as well show it off here now. I'm going to press Y, and he goes, yep, this is how you give up your souls in order to return to the last one. And then finally, X is actually to two-hand. You can see there, the left-hand icon goes away. So 1, 2, it's your, typical one-handed swing, but when you go two-hand, there we are, 2. Otherwise, it's pretty standard. Left hand, there's right hand heavy, left hand heavy, which is technically a parry in this game. Finally, this game does have a jump mechanic. I did briefly show that off before. Jumping in this game, in Dark Souls 1, jumping used to have to be that you press the control B and then you have to double tap B while running in order to jump. This game shifted it so you can jump with the stick by clicking in the left movement stick. That's how you jump. I don't think for this challenge you'll have to do too much in the way of jumping, but it is useful for certain tricks and skills. Now, let's move on to this next scene.
What seems to be the ruckus?
Oh my, your face. The face of the curse. It's an undead. An undead has come to play. They all end up here. All the ones like you. You spoke to that kind old dear, didn't you?
You're finished. You'll go hollow. Yes, you'll become one of them.
Hollows prey upon men, feast upon their souls. This is the fate of the cursed.
What is your name?
And now we go into the character creator. This one actually does require me to use the mouse and keyboard. Give me a second here. Get the mouse out of the way. We'll just go with this for the moment.
At least you know your own name. closer look.
Who do you think it's supposed to be?
Think back, deep into your past. Yes, it's an effigy of you.
And that's the introduction to the items that you use to recover your status, effectively. So in Demon Souls, it was soul form and human form. And then Dark Souls 1 and 2, can't speak for 3. Dark Souls 1 and 2 both use the terms undead and human. So in Dark Souls 1, you used humanity in order to return to your human form. But in Dark Souls 2, you use a human effigy, which was introduced there. And now we get into the character creator. So, this is actually probably one of the first, and it's the most important thing to think about when, or if you decide to play Dark Souls 2, either casually or if you're attempting a challenge run like myself. Your starting gear has some level of importance, but not as much. In fact, though, one of the more important things you want to consider is what class you start. I'll just briefly outline. Obviously, what you can see down here, we've got stats. And I'll try to go over the stats. I believe they are... Oh. So, the first value going from top left towards the right. See if I can remember these in order. Okay, so the top left is your total level. And then I believe we look at... Goodness, I'm trying to remember these ones. So it's vigor, which is your health. Stamina. Endurance, which is your equipped weight. The fifth stat, I cannot remember, but I believe it is tied to how many spells you can cast. So if I quickly flip down to the sorcerer, you can see it jumps up. Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's intelligence, I believe, might be what it is. Then on the bottom row, you have strength, dexterity, and then I believe that one is a bit of an unusual stat. I think that one is adaptability. Adaptability is a stat only in Dark Souls 2. And it does one of two things. It governs... it has a big influence on the substat called agility, which actually is a big thing in terms of how fast you use items. So whether you're using an Estus flask or a consumable, how fast you consume items. And it also affects how many iframes you have when you roll and how long effectively those iframes last. So for example, this knight with 9 adaptability probably has more iframes than your warrior over here with 5. And your bandit with 3. On the other hand, your explorer over here has 12 adaptability. So you can expect that when you roll with the explorer, you have a somewhat decent starting amount of iframes. Some other classes, depending on what you go for, will have different benefits. So you can see here, cleric starts with a time as it is, and the basic heal spell. Your sorcerer has a staff and soul arrow, and your explorer starts with a bunch of items that are consumables that you can throw. So one of them is fire bombs or magic fire bombs. One of them's a grease that you can apply to buff your weapon. And then an item that you can burn to consume stones, a repair powder, and the last item is it's the Pharos Lockstone. If I remember correctly, that's the name of it. And it's used to open up certain doors. If you've played Elden Ring, think your stone sword keys. And of course, you have your base class. But this screen's also quite important for me in this challenge run, because one of the things I have to consider is what weapon I intend to use in this challenge. And how much in the way of stats is it going to require me in order to wield the weapon? So, starting off, there are 2 classes that can wield the weapon that I am thinking about without needing any stat investments. They are Bandit and the Swordsman. And that's because both of these classes start with at least 12 dexterity and at least 9 strength. In Dark Souls, when you two-hand a weapon, you only need half the strength to hold the weapon. So the weapon I'm thinking of requires 18 strength at the minimum and 12 dexterity. You can halve the strength requirement by two-handing the weapon, but you can't halve the dexterity requirement, so you need at least 12 dexterity. One of these two could theoretically work. Out of these 2 classes, both have their own problems. The Swordsman has 4 vigor. It's actually the lowest vigor in the game, even lower than the Sorcerer, and even lower than the Deprived. Yet it is possible for you to get less than your starting values. The Bandit, on the other hand, has to use at least 2 levels to get their intelligence, which is currently 1, get that up to 3. You need 3 intelligence to purchase a mandatory item for this challenge. So, what about other characters then who might be close? Well, let's take the Warrior. The Warrior has 15 strength and 11 dexterity. Also has 5 intelligence. So we meet the intelligence requirement to talk to the vendor who sells the mandatory item. But we need to invest at least 1 level into dexterity in order to wield the weapon that we need. Fair enough option, but also we've only got 7 vitality or 7 vigor. It's not that great. Right? What about the Knight? The Knight's got 12. Actually, is the highest starting value. And has the strength, but only has 8 dexterity. So we have to invest at least 4 levels into dexterity in order to try and be able to wield the weapon that I'm thinking about. Now, the Knight has the 2nd highest starting soul level. And as you know, in Souls-like games, the higher your level, the more you have to spend in order to try and level up a stat. So spending 4 levels went in to get the weapon up that so let me get that out properly. Spending 4 levels to try and get dexterity up in order to try and wield the weapon that I need, starting from soul level 13, means I will be spending more souls for this character in order to get their stats up to the required than I would for any other character. However, this character does start with 12 vigor and has 9 adaptability and 3 intelligence. In other words, there is a benefit here because there are some things you can do with 12 vigor that you might not be able to do with anything else. Specifically, you can tank certain attacks. We've already discussed the Swordsman and the Bandit. Now, the Cleric would seem like a fun option, but the Cleric, you can see, has the highest starting level and will also require 7 levels in dexterity in order to try and wield the weapon. If I was using a different weapon from the one I was thinking of, maybe the Cleric would be nice, but I don't think so. On the other hand, if you want to attempt this challenge on your own, the starting weapon of the Cleric is actually really good. Maces and hammers in this game tend to do pretty darn well, all things considered, because a lot of enemies in this game do have a bit of a weakness to strike damage, which is all the classes in here Poor old Deprived can't even do it. You don't even start with a club. But Cleric starts off with that, has 10 vigor, and has a heal spell on top, which is really good, all things considered. The Explorer has obviously very high adaptability, all things considered. And, you know, you have a fair bit of intelligence in that. But considering you will have to invest 6 levels into strength in order to try and two-hand the weapon, plus another 5 points in dexterity, it's out. But this is the Sorcerer. I should be more specific. Sorcerer is not a good pair. You could do a Sorcerer run, however, if you are willing to play around with rings. And there's also mechanics in this game to try and use certain higher level spells with lower intelligence, but you'll spend a lot more time farming for weapons than might otherwise be feasible. Perfectly fine if you want to do it in your own time, though. And finally, the Explorer. You only have 6 strength, 6 dexterity, so there's a lot of investment you have to do in order to try and get those stats up. Although you do have the highest starting adaptability, it doesn't necessarily help for the purposes of this build. Finally, the Deprived. Obviously, you can start at soul level 1 and level up anything as you require. You would need minimum, however, 9 levels. Which means you're actually spending the most amount of levels in order to try and get up to stats you need to wield a weapon. When you've only got a couple of souls to work with, well, that's that. I think, though, for the purposes of this challenge, I may look at the Knights. While it is a couple of thousand souls in order to try and wield the weapon that I need, the rest of the stats are pretty darn good in terms of making sure that I can stay alive. Now, gifts. Some of these they need a little bit of explanation. First things first, life ring, light boost to HP. I think it's like a couple of percentage points. Obviously, a human effigy allows you to restore your undead form towards human, always useful. Healing wares gives you additional healing items. Let's talk about those. Every character starts off with life gems and a certain stash of life gems. Life gems are consumables that you use to recover your health over time. They're slower than an Estus flask, but you can always store up to 99 of each. Now, for this challenge, healing wares like that are whatever I find in the environment is basically what I have. This is a very valid pick for this option. Homeward Bones, if you've played Dark Souls, you know what a Homeward Bone is. If you've played Elden Ring, well, it's basically a consumable that you burn, or that you use to retain your souls but warp to the last bonfire you're at. Seed of a Tree of Giants. Well, I'm trying to remember what it does for the life of me. I think it's an item that you burn that you basically makes enemies hostile to everyone. So normally if someone invades you as a red phantom, they'll go, oh yeah, okay. They can run in amongst the enemies. Dark Souls 2 actually has an item that you can consume, and it makes in-game enemies, not invaders, but in-game enemies, hostile to everyone. Bonfire Ascetic. This is a very unique item only seen in Dark Souls 2. It's actually a very fantastic item in most cases. A Bonfire Ascetic allows you to use it at a bonfire in order to increase the new game level of that area. If you start a new game, you burn a Bonfire Ascetic at a bonfire, that area where the ascetic was burned goes up 1 new game level. So that will become New Game +1 from the starting game. This means that enemies respawn, the boss respawns, items can respawn, and certain other things can happen depending on the level that you're at. This can affect merchant inventories, for example. So, for example, in Majula, the starting area, certain merchants will only sell things from New Game +2 or higher. Using bonfire aesthetics allows you to increase that level straight away. It is a mechanic that I really had wished had carried over into our future games, but it doesn't. And it's a real shame because it does a lot for this. You can use these proactively, actually, depending on your build. You can plan around this by going, oh yeah, I'm going to try and lure invaders in and then, combine it with items that I use to turn the enemies hostile, and they're all New Game +7. Have fun with that. Finally, the petrified something. Now, this game has a quote-unquote merchant where you trade items in, and you will receive items in return. What you drop is limited to certain shiny and sparkly things. What you receive is random. I could get something really nice from this, but at the same time, I could get something equally as useless. For the purposes of this challenge, I'm going to use the healing rares. Mainly because I need the extra stock of healing items. I won't be able to buy any more from merchants. Whatever I can get at the start, I will take. Let me go click up on body. So, you have your usual things. You can go male, female. Don't think it changes too much in this case. Might go male. And then obviously you have bodies. This can actually matter because it can affect your hitboxes. That one doesn't. Where is the randomize function? Here we are. So, yeah, you can get some really fun creations from here. Still, nothing quite beats Oblivion, but you can do some pretty fun things. Also, Dark Souls 2 still fits into the category of game where you don't really have a good set of hair and skin colors represent different backgrounds. If you wanted to make yourself look like the adoring fan, you've got a perfect hairstyle for that. Dreads, fair enough. The monk cut, the super slicked, the ruffled, the I don't know what to call that, the single part, the buzz cut, and the bald. Not much choice, all things considered. I might go for whatever looks like the messiest. I think I'll go for maybe just the starting hair. But let's pick something fancy as. Yeah, you can see here some of the doesn't look great. Doesn't look great at all. What can you do? Yeah, I think the less I say, the better about this. Don't ask me. I think I'm going to be staring at this character for a while, so as long as it looks half decent, I'm fine with that. And then we'll go with a tattoo. tattoo to stand out. And finally, eye color. All right. And then I don't think I want to play around too much more with this, but I think there's some things I want to do. There we are. Yeah, I don't want things to stick out too much. Otherwise, I think that's about, I'm kind of lazy. I think there's more I might do, actually. There. And we'll finalize. Let's go in.
All people come here for the same reason. To break the curse. You're no different, I should think. Doesn't stand a chance.
Well, you never know. Go through the door and trot along to the kingdom.
But remember, hold on to your souls. They're all that keep you from going hollow. Oh, I'll fool you no longer. You lose your souls. All of them. Over and over again.
Alright, and here we are. First look at our actual character. Now, just to briefly introduce, these characters are actually firekeepers. Again, this is not about an age of fire or anything else like that. These firekeepers basically don't have a job. However, they are very important. Please don't try to kill them. You will need to come back to them if you wish to respec your character. Okay, one thing that I'll show off with this game. Wooden chests can be broken. If you break a wooden chest without having looted it, the item inside turns to rubbish. Maybe be a little bit careful where you can. It's gonna take a little bit of muscle memory in order for me to stop pressing X to pick up items. Now, a couple of things. One, Dark Souls 2 allows you to warp between bonfires. So you're fine. You're not exactly locked to anything else. If you're going, oh, can I get around easily? You're perfectly able to. This is not Dark Souls 1. And you can see here. And the second thing you see, as the message said, is the torch. You can light a torch at a bonfire. And in this game, torches can be quite important to light up certain areas or engage with certain things. You might think to yourself, for example, I'll just show it off. No. And set a light. And setting lights can be quite important for trying to light your way around the place. In order to put away a torch, switch the weapon out. The torch is not an equipable item in this game. It's just an item that you use when you have a light source or a consumable item. We'll come across those a bit later. And the torch can help you basically guide your way or do certain other things. Also, I should explain. This is your tutorial area. Things betwixt. If you've used the Elden Ring, the tutorial area can be entirely skipped. Entirely skipped. You don't have to do any of it. I'll give it a skip for the moment. Don't think there's too much to explain. Very good though if you've not used the Dark Souls 2, particularly with the pace of the combat. I should explain. Statue blocks your way. That is an indicator. That's not actually like... That's not actually something you break down, right? You can't just hit it. That is a petrified entity. In order to free the petrification, you need a fragrant branch of yore. Fragrant branches of yore are found across the world, and in fact, I will need a fragrant branch of yore as part of this challenge. There's no way about it. I will need to get... The route that I'm planning on taking will net me a fragrant branch, but... very important to make sure you pick one up. Now, what the heck has happened here? Oh. Yeah, that is a... I think someone's watched a little too much Ghost in the Shell. This is all people from like New Game Plus, or maybe New Game, just running around shanking themselves with a sword just to put their things on. You know. I'm surprised though, this community is still up and running. Welcome though to Majula. Majula is your hub town. This is where you find certain merchants. You come here to rest, to level up, so on and so forth. Now, I'm gonna go grab that item over there. Binoculars. Fun little things. Obviously, you don't have to do that, but that's the sort of little thing. This game's quite linear as well in its pathing. But sometimes when you look around, you can find little hidden things. Let's go over all the characters in here. This here is the Emerald Herald. This is effectively the person you speak to when you wish to level up. She's over here. If you kill her, you don't get to level up. Also, she likes to talk about bears. This guy is Crestfallen, but he's got a name. I think his name's Salomon. Oh yeah, that's it about, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that's 618 million deaths worldwide. I've contributed a few of those myself. This comes up later on. I think it's more related to if you do new game or no death, no bonfire stuff. Let's talk to this guy.
You're undead, aren't you? You have that distinct scent, the smell of irreversible fate. This is Majula. It is a kind of settlement. A place where life is almost normal. And in Drangleic these days, there are very few places like that. I am Solden.
Solden. For some reason, I thought it was Saladin.
And like you, I lost everything. And now I'm here. You probably heard that it was possible to break the curse here. Well, that's not true at all. There's nothing here for you, me, or anybody. Do you know much about souls? Even I'm not certain, but I'm told that the soul is the essence of life itself. Anything living, sentient or no, supposedly has one. What we call the curse is traceable to the soul. Do you see what that means? To be alive, to walk this earth, that's the real curse, right there. We undead will never die. And that's quite a predicament, really.
Yeah, Solden's still got the whole crestfallen warrior thing. But one thing to say, this isn't quite Dark Souls. This isn't really a game about people going through their stories and then ending up hollow on the other end after they've got nothing else. Everyone here is trying to cling to life in their own way, shape and form.
There are 4 beings in this land with giant souls. And wherever you go from here, you'll sooner or later come up against them. Each has a powerful soul and a terrible curse. If that frightens you, then you ought to just give up right now, like I have.
Yeah, so for Solden, staying here in Majula is the best way to stay sane.
Do you ever cry out for help? The journey of an undead is long and treacherous. You'll face invaders from other worlds at every turn. If you need help, why not proclaim faith in the Blue Sentinels? When you face danger, the Blue Sentinels will come to your aid. Protection is yours, if you wish. You need only accept their kind embrace.
I will say yes. So, Covenants.
That is a wise decision. People are weak, but the Blue Sentinels watch over us in their benevolence. Let the Sentinels cradle you in their embrace.
Okay, so Covenants in this game feature far more heavily than they would in, say, Elden Ring. Covenants offer very different benefits depending on which Covenant you're in. This Covenant that I'm in, over to the status, isn't actually called... it doesn't really display here, does it? Here it is. The Way of Blue. It's not the Blue Sentinels, but it's the Way of Blue. So, people who are in the Way of Blue, if they are invaded by a invading player, and I think it's mostly red. I don't know if it applies to Dragon Covenant invasions, because those are summoned in. But if you're invaded by a red invader, you get priority matchmaking for blue sentinels, who are actually a separate covenant. Way of the Blue is a covenant that's designed to try and help newer players get into the game. Also, having their ring on changes your maximum HP a little bit. Get a slight little bit of HP. When I take the ring off, you'll see my starting HP 968. And then when I equip the blue seal, to 997 HP. Not bad, all things considered. Yeah. This way down here leads to one of the areas that you can go at the start of the game. There are two areas where you can go, and this is one of them. We'll come back here later. I intend to come back this way as the main way, but there's a little bit of running around that I have to do first in Majula. Oh yeah. Also, I hope you like burning your stamina while you're sprinting. Very typical. Homeward Bones, talked about those before. This is for the Covenant of Champions. The Covenant of Champions is for those who wish to make the game harder. People in the Covenant of Champions deal slightly less damage, take slightly more damage from enemies, though it doesn't change HP values for enemies. It also removes a certain mechanic that the game uses to try and make things easier for players. Unlike Dark Souls or Elden Ring, you can only farm enemies in this game a certain number of times before they permanently despawn. This is intended as a feature to try and allow players to clear an area so that when they're progressing, for example, running through to a boss, they don't have to worry about all the little adds on the way and they can preserve their HP. It is a very good mechanic actually for getting used to Dark Souls 2 because some areas can be really brutal. Being part of this covenant means enemies like that do not despawn. They will continue to spawn every time you rest at the bonfire, so it's very much like traditional Dark Souls or like Elden Ring. Now, Covenant of Champions works a little differently from Way of Blue. Way of Blue is actually a little bit unique compared to most other covenants. Most covenants you can level up by handing in an item to the Covenant location. For the Covenant of Champions, it's called Ore Stones. And you get Ore Stones from many different ways. But you hand in Ore Stones, and when you increase your rank in the Covenant, you also get certain items. There was a point where I was thinking if I wanted to use that, actually go fists only for this challenge. I figured that would be kind of crazy to watch. That would be several hours of farming a certain NPC invader over and over and over again in order to try and get these stones. Plus the amount of bonfire ascetics I would have to use. I think it would be boring, effectively. You can see here, this is the Covenant. There's no other benefits if you want to join the Covenant or not. It's entirely up to you. And I didn't set it as a rule in this challenge, partly because I haven't played Dark Souls 2 in a while, so I'm a little rusty myself. I might have considered it, but I'll think about it while I explain the other characters. So, Open says me, this is Shalquor. This is Shalquor. Oh, actually, Shalquor is up against the wall. I'm going to show this off.
Oh, undead are we?
Yeah, we're talking through the wall.
And one without much time remaining. Just about ready to fall apart, I'd say. Not exactly the time to be chatting with a cat. Well, suit yourself. Oh yes, you may call me Shalqua. Enchanté. So, what did you want anyway? Ooh, you smell wonderful.
Falquar is a little bit unusual. He's a vendor of certain items, things which can be fun for when you're playing, like, you know, on your own. This one, for example, allows you to more easily connect for cooperative shenanigans with other players who are part of the same covenant. Red Eye Ring makes its appearance here. Very useful for if you are playing as a supportive character to try and tank enemy attention. And this allows you to see dev messages. I think that's what it is. Plus, she sells homeward bones, prism stones. That's the thing that I was thinking about. They're basically your markers. Alluring skulls and talismans. Also allows you to view your rank in covenants, or safely abandon a covenant if you so wish. Like, you can abandon a covenant by joining another covenant, but if you don't wish to have a covenant, just talk to, you know, Shalquar over here. He'll help you out.
Satisfied? I'll be around if you ever come back.
2 more stops in here. First things first. I'll pick that up. This is Majula Mansion, currently locked. Someone out there in the wild has a key. And then finally, I believe this is Magarol, another vendor.
Hello there.
Gee, I'm forgetting to show off one
Welcome
other.
to my
Morglan.
shop.
No, Magarol's a different NPC,
I'm
sorry.
Morlin, and
Morglan's
well, I
an
sell
armor
armor.
vendor, as you can see.
Oh, sorry, Please do have a look at my wares. I could really use the business. If you'd be so kind.
Now, poor old Morglan here has one of 2 uses. On a more standard casual playthrough, Morglan's inventory is determined by the new game level of Majula. So, if you bump up Majula to new game +2, he sells more unique items. Poor old Morglan, however, has another problem.
Well, I do hope I see you again.
That armor set that Morglan is wearing has an effect of increasing the number of souls you earn from defeated foes. Unfortunately for him, he tends to be a target of speedrunners. You know, extra souls aids with the leveling up. Oh, so far we haven't shown anything about mimics, but don't expect mimics at this stage. Yep, and I just realized I'm also forgetting to show off another character. In case you're wondering about all the bloodstains, these are probably people who have been trying to take out Morglan for his armor. Yep, and they failed. But over here, what about you? Yep, okay, yeah, same thing. One thing. You can see down here, just a little hint. You can go down the hole. Don't try to do so right now. You will die. The last character I forgot to show off. Over here. The blacksmith.
Who are you? Oh, it doesn't matter. Just help me open this door. was in here, seeing it was vacant. But now somebody's gone and locked the door.
Yeah, so he is a blacksmith, but he's currently locked out. When you find the key, he can recommence services, and he can serve as one of the characters in this game who can upgrade your weapons. There's another NPC around who can also upgrade weapons, but this is the guy from the jeweler. Oh, I should mention, you can't jump unless you're running in this game. If you're not running, you don't jump. But yes, we have to talk with the Emerald Herald.
Are you the next monarch? Or merely a pawn of fate? Bearer of the curse, I will remain by your side till this frail hope shatters. Take this with you. May it ease your journey. Go on and see the king. He who made Drangleic what it once was. He who peered at the essence of the soul. King Vendrick.
Yeah, and now you can level up by the power of the Emerald Herald. So, already just from talking with Solden and from the Emerald Herald, you have your direction. There are 4 lords who you have to meet. And your aim is to meet the king, King Vendrick, and find out more about what the curse is.
Bearer of the curse, seek misery. For misery will lead you to greater, stronger souls. You will never meet the king with a soul so frail and pallid. Seek those whose names are unutterable.
Here we are.
Four endowed with immense souls. Their
Hello, Martin.
souls will
Hello,
serve as
welcome.
beacons. Once you have found them,
How you doing today?
return here to me, so that hope will not fade away.
Yeah. In other words, in order to progress through this game, you have to be 4 circles. Yeah, how you doing today, Martin? Don't need to burn that. Yeah, you seem a little confused. I guess. Yeah, this is a challenge run, but this is me also sort of talking about this game and why I really enjoy it in a number of ways. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask them away. I'll be talking about this game while I go through.
Is that a shard you found? Here, let me see it, so that I may help you. To see light, to see hope.
Yeah, Emerald Herald over
However
here
faint it
serves
might
as your
be.
character for leveling up and also upgrading your Estus flasks. I mentioned this before in the stream, but if you're really a monster, you could go and kill her by accident. Or deliberately. But if you do that, you lose the ability to level up. Alright. First things first, I do want to set the flasks. I might leave the life gems, consumable healing items by the way. I'll leave them off at the moment. So, from the jeweler, where we are, there are 2 ways you can go. One is over by stairwell that is over here. I probably should put the binoculars on to help show these things out. Right there. That's one way we can go. The other way you can go from here is down this way. The paths lead to one of 2 directions. This way leads to an area called the Forest of Fallen Giants. And the Forest of Fallen Giants is intended to be your starting area, or one of your 2 starting areas. Forest of Fallen Giant has 2 bosses, a couple of enemies. It introduces you to a couple of the things that Dark Souls likes to do. As for me, I'm trying to remember which way it is to shield. I don't think I have to go this far. I don't think I have to go this far at all. Where is that shield? You're playing a very old game and it doesn't look like I'm playing Dark Souls. No, this is Dark Souls 2. For reference, Dark Souls 2 came out in, I believe I would say maybe 2012. When did Dark Souls 2 come out? Let's have a look. Actually, 2014. So, there we are. 2014 is when this came out. So, it will look quite different from what you might have expected. More? Actually, it looks better than Dark Souls 1, I'll be honest. But it does look quite dated compared to, say, what Elden Ring looks like. Definitely this game came out well before ray tracing was a thing. Yeah. Otherwise, this is very much Dark Souls. I can go back to the start of the title screen and show you. Probably because the game audio might be a little bit loud. I was having some issues before with the setup, so I haven't had time to really test the audio out. But I'm hoping that's a little bit better. I'm hoping that's a little bit better there with the audio. Just turn down a fraction. The way that I'm going to go for this challenge is actually via the staircase over here. We'll go to the second area that you can go to. This game actually does a very good job of trying to show progression. At the start of the game, you can only go one of 2 ways. Both of the directions that you can go lead you to the same point. From there, you can either come back to Majula here and open up a new path, which will then allow you to explore a 3rd area and move on. Or you can go to the end of the area and meet the Lord Soul of that area and see how you go. There we are. Beautiful. I needed a shield. Also, what's my equip load at? 42.7%. That's fine. I can handle 42.7. Where's the chain? It's up there on the wall. I've got to remember these things. Fine. Doesn't matter if this gate closes afterwards, but in case you want to actually walk backwards, I think that's the chain up here to open up the gate again. Could have never have to do that though. But when I go out this way, let's talk about the second area of where you can go after Majula. This is Hyde's Tower of Flame. There are 2 main enemies in here. These guys, who are Hyde Knights. Don't worry too much about them. As long as you don't attack them, they're fine. If you want to take the chance, go ahead. And then those guys. big armored sentinels. For the moment, I'm just going to warp out, reset the area. Actually, I don't even have to do that. The Hyde's Tower of Flame has a motif of semi-destroyed environments, but you can see up there, that's why it's Hyde's Tower of Flame. Like I said, this is well before ray tracing, so the lighting effects are just kind of 2014-ish. There are actually two bosses in this area, of which I only need to fight one at the moment. I'm going to run past every enemy here. Don't need to fight any of these guys. The reason I'm not fighting any of the enemies is I actually don't want to get any souls. I don't want any souls at the moment. Very specific reason. That guy's guarding the chest. Come on, hammer. One very important thing about Dark Souls 2, you do not have invincibility frames when trying to run through doorways. You do not have invincibility frames when going through doorways. It's one of the biggest things that will catch new players off when they're trying to play through this game. Because in Elden Ring and in Dark Souls, you have invincibility frames. Ah yes, and you can start seeing the following there. So, when you try to go through doorways, you need to plan out how you're going to do so if you're not going to kill anything. This is also why I don't have any souls at the moment. There we go. Dragon Rider. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ah, missed it. I'm gonna have to do this legit. Alright, I'm gonna have to do this legit. There's a trick you can do to try and make the Dragon Rider fall off. But I missed the timing. Yeah, you can see the chug speed right there. Focus. I just need this guy to move a little bit more away from the middle, away from the walls, I should say. Yep. And that's Dark Souls 2's first boss. First of only 2 bosses I need to fight for the start of this challenge. Here comes the tricky part. If I die and then I can't pick up my souls, challenge is over. Let's talk about this character. This is Alicia of Lindelt.
Are you from these parts? My name is Lycia. I have come to spread the art of miracles, a practice of which I am a disciple. I can see that you are well suited to comprehend their wondrous power. But the cost of it, that's for your heart to decide.
And you can see here she sells basic miracles. Your heal, medium heals, great heal excerpt, depending on your faith. Some NPCs will require a minimum amount of intelligence or faith to talk to them and purchase their wares. For most of the blacksmiths, you don't have to worry about any of that.
No need for miracles. The gods frown upon such soul scrimpers.
So, I might as well talk about it here. Let's talk about Lycia of Lindelt at the moment. So, Lycia is a bit of an interesting character. You see, if you let Lycia live, later on she moves to another location, back towards where near the entrance where we came in here. And she stands at a point and uses an item to shift the pathway. She charges you 2,000 souls for that. Also, if you let her live and you get far enough in the game, she tries to invade you. And then, you know, you kind of have to put her down. 2,000 souls is a bit for this challenge. Only catch is, if I take her out now, I earn souls. How many exactly? Let me just remind myself here. I believe I earned 2,500 souls. It can get a little tricky if I wanted to do that. I'm trying to think about whether it's worth letting her live so I don't have to deal with the penalty of the 2,000 souls. But actually, it's more that if I let her live, the next boss that I'm planning on fighting will give 14,000 souls. That puts me at 26. If I take out Lycia, you can see someone there bashing her away at Lycia. I'm just going to rest here at the bonfire either way. He's not going to go anywhere just yet. So, it's either to take 2,500 souls now, and you get the free item from her to actually go and use the rotunda, or you leave her and you pay 2,000 souls, but then you don't increase your souls by 2,500. I'll just quickly show off. These are all people who have attempted to fight Lycia and botched it. In all of these cases, I'll quickly demonstrate. Left, middle, right. Left got blown away by the gods. Right over here, the last one who died, faced the wrong way. And then middle probably just got punched. Yeah, she can hit you with her own chime. The other problem is if you fail to take out Lycia now, you will remain aggressive in this location. And then you're in for a really rough time. So it's about a matter of soul security, as I'll call it. If you're after your souls, if you need your souls to be safe, and you need that soul security, you kind of have to let her live. If you're willing to risk it for the biscuit, go for it. Hmm. All right. I've just been thinking about it. Do I want to go for punching? Well, I mean, if I lose my progress at this stage, why not? There's no harm in restarting.
Please stop this. I've no choice now.
Needed to stand up because you have to stun lock her with punches. Bugger. She fell down onto the stairs. That's not what I wanted to have happen. Come up this way. There we go. 2,500. And we'll rest here. Chime and the lockstone. Didn't really want to do it that way, but it's a bit safer because her invade. This route that I'm planning on taking is a little different. It means I try to have to hold on to my souls for a little bit longer. Monastery charm. Yeah, there's a whole area here. Got all those items. Let's move on. Could be safe from here to get to the next area. Is there a Gerb Knight here, buddy? Am I going the right way? Sublime Bone Dust. You actually need the Sublime Bone Dust because it improves the healing for your Estus flasks. Surprised I got very lucky on that one though. Yeah, there's your little security, your little gate to stop you from getting out. Alright. Don't. Yeah, we can't go that way. You can see why going through here you might want a torch. I'm going to go back to Chula. There's a case to be made right here that I should spend the one level that I need to hold my weapon. Just because...
Bearer of the curse. Seek souls. Larger, more powerful souls. Seek the king. That is the only way. Lest this land swallow you whole.
And
as it has so
hold on,
many
I'll show it
others.
off after this. We'll put the 1 point start. Actually, we'll put the 4 points now. You can see that's going to consume nearly 4,000 souls. Actually, just a fraction over 4,000 souls. But that gives me the dexterity that I require. I burn slug. Yeah, here we go. So Sublime Bone Dust can only be burnt in Majula, but it increases the HP recovered by your flasks. And now I have 2 flasks, both healing at +1. I think the maximum you can get is +5. Now to quickly show off why she talks about bears.
Bearer of the blessed Islam.
You mash fast enough, you skip a lot of it. But if you, especially back in the PS3 days, when this was on console and its original release, you ended up with her going bear, seek, seek, lest. I'm just thinking, the only thing that I wish I had more of was more torch time. I'm a little short on torches. I can probably do this and tank, but then if I wield a torch, I don't get a shield. This is gonna be tricky. You want a torch in some ways for No Man's Wharf, which is the area that we're coming up to. I'll briefly show it off, because we should be fine to just like walk in there and walk back. This is No Man's Wharf. It's pretty dark. Our objective up here is 2 things. Number 1, in this area is a fragrant branch of yore. And the second, we have to get over to the pirate ship in order to fight the boss. Fighting the boss will allow me to actually move over to the next area that we need to go, which is the area where we will meet this NPC. But I need a fragrant branch of yore to free the NPC from petrification. Alright. I think I might just have to run. If I'm lucky, I can pick up another torch along the way. But I don't think I've got much else. This is the other tricky part about the run. Oh. Jeez Louise. Alright, let's run back to the, put out the torch. Hold on. I need to actually have the life gems on. Equipment. Alright. Well, I lost 20 seconds of my torch time, but it's fine. If I get chipped by an arrow, I've got to just take the hit. Here, run up the stairs. Run up these stairs. Dogs. Run up this way. Sorry, buddy, I need you to move, please. You as well. These guys are afraid of fire and light. Oh, wait. Stairs. Oh, jeez. Okay. Run. Alright. Don't have the fire. Bleeding. Through, move through, go, go, go. Pull the bell. Okay. Gotta remember which way it is to... Nope. We just close that up. Sorry, I don't need you. That's the bastard. Malformed claws. Can you? Thank you. Beautiful. Just wait for the poison to tick you down. Done. Need to get to this chest. Fragrant branch of yore. Don't need any of those, don't need any of those. Yeah, breakable walls in this game do exist. They stick out. Good, more life gems. Thankfully, I'm safe here for a little bit. Can afford to catch my breath. Unfortunately, I have to make my way onto the boat. Go this way. Can at least kick that down as a shortcut. And run back. Okay, good. That's the first half of this level done without dying. Yeah, there's parts of this challenge where it's going to be unavoidable to actually take out enemies. Where is my soul memory? It's up there in the top right. 16,471 is my soul memory. It's a little higher than I would have liked, but unfortunately, I kind of flubbed a little bit of this. Normally, I'd be off farming some additional torches. There's not much I can do. No Man's Wharf is not fun because... Okay, there's another fragrant branch of yore that I could have gotten if I was actually good at a particular skip. But I'm not actually that good at the skip, so... Not actually that good at the skip, so I kind of have to just get the one from No Man's Wharf. But there's actually a fragrant branch of yore in... Yeah, there's a fragrant branch of yore in the Forest of Fallen Giants, but it does require you to make this very specific jump. Flexile Sentry. Alright, here we go. Flexile, you want to stay on the side with the close. Also, the water level's rising. Focus, focus, focus. Two. Good. Ah, missed the roll in. Ah. Got it. All right. This is still fine. This is still fine. As long as I can make the flexile without dying, I'm fine. Got a couple of minutes left on my torch, don't I? This is why I grabbed all the extra healing wares at the start of the game. I can't buy any healing wares, so I kind of have to rely on... kind of rely on the life gems in order to try and keep me alive through this boss fight. Yeah, see, there we are. Straight into that. All right. Ah, see, that's the slow chunk speed. That's the part which usually gets people killed, is the slow chug speed. Light torch again. Got minute 30 on my torch. Could be enough for like 2 to 3 more pathways. Otherwise, then I'm relying on bloodstains to try and light my way. Also, my maximum health has started decreasing. The more you die, the more it is harder to try and live. There'll be a certain point where if I die too many times, I will have to try and use my human effigy in order to restore my HP. Side with the clubs. One. Yeah, the water slows you down. One. Then overhead. That's it. Bit of an unusual attack that he does there. One. Come on. Okay, good. More hits. 2. Okay. Jeez. Okay. Do I live? No, I don't. Still fine. Still fine. I got pretty close there. So, in this game, grab hitboxes can appear to be a little bit weird. It's not actually that they're weird. It's that grab hitboxes count if they pick up where you were before an animation that you do plays out. Pressing the wrong button here. They count if you do, for example, a roll, but your invincibility frames on your roll do not give you enough distance to escape the grab animation. And if that's the case, then what happens is, well, you appear to roll, and then you don't actually roll. Like, or you appear to roll, and then you get sucked back into the grab. This way. This way. Up here. big slime. Beautiful. One. Sweet. Two. One. Okay. One. Okay, good. Jeez, okay, I got grabbed. 1, 2, 3. I live. And that switches things up, unfortunately. I need to get it back to the side with the clubs. Alright, good. Now, the katana side is harder to deal with than the club side. There's no way about that. But even if you do live with the grab, you have to deal with the katana side. I think I still have most of my life gems. Go down this way. Run across the water. I should mention while I'm here. Here in No Man's Wharf, there is actually your magic merchant. Your magic merchant is here. By talking to the magic merchant, I don't remember if you have to buy anything from them. I think you do have to buy at least one item from the magic merchant. That will bring the magic merchant over to Majula. That means you don't have to come back here again. But if you are a sorcerer, have fun. One, two. One. Jeez, okay. Focus. Focus, focus, focus. Yep, not getting hit by that grab attack. Keep that up. Thank you. One. See what you do. Four more hits. 3. Here we go. Done. It's the last boss I need to beat for this challenge. Or for the first part of this challenge, I should say. Get out of the water, though. Oi. Took a bit longer. Now, let's show what my currently soul memory is like. See, I'm at 30,000 souls, which is the minimum required to meet this NPC. But to actually talk with the NPC as well. There's a bit that goes on. Got a few too many souls than I would have preferred, but that is the nature of this challenge. We'll see how close we can get. But let's head off to the next area. And see, I've got extra souls because normally on these challenges, I don't go for killing Lycia. I'd have an extra 2,500 to play with. But it is what it is. Now, welcome to... I love showing these off. This is actually a pretty neat feature as well. It shows off a bunch of the bloodstains at once. This one was the only one who was fighting. Although, this isn't really an area where you can fight. And I speak too soon. They can all have fun down there. I forgot they put enemies down here. Oh, in case you're wondering what I've picked up already, we have an Old Knight Halberd. That's not the weapon I'm using. Malformed Claws is nice, but not really what I'm after. A Pyroflame. Doesn't require any stats, but I'm not going to invest into it. Idol's Chime requires 25 faith. Yeah, this is actually kind of funny. It's a piercing gauntlet. Old Knight Halberds have a lot of strength, but they have very low durability. There it is. A little more... Oh, well, one more healing item. I think I go up this way. And it should just be in one of these side rooms is the bonfire. The Lost Bastille, as you can get the impression here, is that of a prison. This was a prison designed to hold undead. But also a bit more than undead. Common enemies you will find here. Dogs. Prison guards. And a couple other things besides that. Now, I mentioned before that there are two entrances into the Lost Bastille. This is one of them. By coming in via the boat, you lead up to this direction. Jeez Louise. Okay, guys, we can calm down with the arrows at the moment, okay? I'll go back this way if I need to. The other entrance is from the Forest of Fallen Giants, and is actually from an area just past beating one of the bosses. It takes you to another side of the Lost Bastille. From the side that I have come through, you can get to that side. From the other side, however, you cannot get to here. And that's because down underneath that way, there is a one-way gate. The one-way gate actually stops you from coming through to this side. The problem is that in order to get to the NPC that I need to get to, you have to be on this side of the Lost Bastille. But the key to get to the NPC is on the other side. So if you've come in by beating the boss from the Forest of Fallen Giants, and then you get to the Lost Bastille, you can get the key, but you cannot then get to this side where you can get to the NPC. Unless you decide to fight a boss on that side. So the thing is, there are, in which way or the other, no matter which way you go, there will always be two bosses that you have to fight. You can fight the one boss in the Forest of Fallen Giants, and then you fight one boss here in the Lost Bastille. And then you can get to the NPC. Or you fight the boss in the Hades Tower of Flame and the No Man's Wharf, and then you don't have to fight one here in the Lost Bastille. In reality, this challenge is more about trying to minimize the number of souls that you obtain. So, the boss in the Lost Bastille offers, I think, about 18,000 souls. And I believe the boss in the Forest of Fallen Giants offers about 10,000 souls. Put together, you're at 28,000 souls before accounting for other enemies. The bosses from Hades Tower of Flame and No Man's Wharf add up to 26,000 souls, meaning you have a little bit of leeway to work there. Let me just remind myself on the actual number of souls. I think it's 18,000 for the one in the Lost Bastille. And if I can spell the word correctly, let's give that a search. Here we go. No, actually, I'm incorrect. They offered 33,000 souls, which is why you can't take that route. There's no way about it. You have to try and go via the route of Hades Tower of Flame to No Man's Wharf. As you've seen so far in the challenge, the trickiest part is getting through No Man's Wharf without having to kill a bunch of enemies. If you have to kill them, you have to. There's not much you can do about that. Better take them out and take the extra souls than dropping all your souls somewhere in the middle of No Man's Wharf in a bad spot where you can possibly end up losing all of them and have to restart the challenge again. You don't want to have to do that. There's far more points where you have to worry about losing your souls. Sorry to say that. I'm actually just going to quickly take care of something. I need to get some more water, and then I'll be back. All right, thank you very much. So, I'll briefly talk about the challenge that I'm going to face here in the Lost Bastille. Obviously, right now, at any stage until I spend my souls, if I lose my souls, this challenge is back to the beginning. And again, then I'll have to remake the character, go through No Man's Wharf, Hades Tower of Flame, No Man's Wharf, consider whether I want to deal with Lycia or not. Because if you have, again, gaining 2,500 souls is bit more of a consideration than paying 2,000 souls in order to use the Rotunda once. Because once you use the Rotunda once, you don't have to worry about it. Okay. There are 2 challenges here in this run. In this part of Lost Bastille. Actually, 3 challenges. I should be very specific. Number 1. I have to make my way from this side to the other side to get the key. The key's not too far to get, but there, like I said, there's the one-way gate. And I should mention, down the bottom, on the ground level, there are dogs. The dogs are going to be pretty aggressive, and I don't have a good way of cranking the gate. The second thing I need to do is there's an NPC in here, a blacksmith. The blacksmith is an NPC you can go to in case you haven't gotten the key to open up the blacksmith at Majula. But in order to open up the area to that blacksmith, you have to use an explosive barrel. It's a little bit of RNG. And then finally, you have to make your way back from here again through to where the NPC is. And that's why you need the key. Let's see how I go. Ow. Dogs are super aggressive. I don't like this. I'm probably going to have to deal with the dogs. Yeah, I'm going to have to deal with the dogs. There's no way about that. I've also got to make sure I pick up my souls now. Very important. If I don't pick up my souls and I die again, then we have a problem. There we go. Got the gate. Alright, first part of this challenge is done. Get up here, push the barrel down, please. I think I heard an explosion. And open from this side. Come on, buddy. Don't do this. Don't do this. Might actually just go for the check. Did the explosive barrel open up the door? No, it did not. No. Must have hit the dogs. Okay. All right, let's think. What can I do from here? What can I do from here? Let's see. First things first. I'm safe up here for the moment. Well, technically, I've got the key. What I might do... I might actually go... use a homeward bone. So, I have the key that I need. It was the antiquated key that I got from this location. From here, I can get to the NPC that I need to get to. Once I get to that NPC and acquire the item that I need, the mandatory item, then I'm fine. Oh yeah, that's fast roll versus medium roll. Alright, let's try to see how I go. Okay, go. Antiquated key. Not that. Go. Grab this. The green blossom is a stamina recovery item. Gone the wrong way. It's fine. Fine. Okay, so that little alleyway takes you to just above where the explosive barrel is. Thing. Yep. Go in here, come on. Go. Beautiful, we're fine. Unfortunately, someone else fell down in the pit. Okay. This is the elevator shortcut that takes you past the boss that gives 33,000 souls and leads you up to here. I want to be very careful with this area. Don't want to make too much noise. These guys kind of react to noise. Darn it. Alright, that's a problem. Because the bonfire up here is past the NPC. So, this is now a problem. Because I have to run. I have to run through this area again. And if I die, challenge attempt is over. I have to restart from the beginning. Oh no! Right. Buy myself a little bit of time. Jump in here. Go, 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 go. Keep my eye out. I'm actually being like very, very cautious at the moment. Just go, go, just go. Move, 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 buddy. Move, buddy. Thank goodness.
Still a bit stiff, I'm afraid. I must thank you, young governor.
Oh, by the way, all these guys up here, they do explode.
Wandering sorcerer of sorts. I've been a guest for a very long time, but I don't think that anybody will miss me.
So, straight here is the merchant who we need to go to get the item that we need for this challenge.
First one, weak you may be,
He requires an intelligence of 3 to be able to purchase items from him. He also serves as one of the few characters who can trade souls. If I demonstrate, if I wanted to, I could pay 1,500 souls and pop up one of the 2 boss souls that I've gotten, either the Dragon Rider soul or the Flexile Sentry soul, and pick up a weapon that I need for this challenge. If I wanted to do that way. Some of them might be interesting. This one here, for example. The Arced Sword does pretty good damage. As a curved greatsword, it's also got pretty decent range and has a fair bit of durability. But maybe not so much. And the Warped Sword has some fun, fancy movements. On the other hand, the Halberd is pretty balanced. Has a twin blade, and that's a bow. These ones require a few too many stats. This one's not bad. If I was to invest 4 more points, however. But it takes a little too much investment. So a swordsman can't get this without investing into 13 strength. So they need like 4 levels, I believe. And then you need to have more vigor as well. As it is, I'd have to put 4 points into dexterity, or 4 more points into dexterity in order to get this weapon. Instead, I'm here for a particular item. The Agape Ring. This is an item unique to actually the Scholar of the First Sin version. It doesn't exist, I think, in the original. Or I could be mistaken, I think it does. But effectively, whenever something dies, you get the souls. While you equip this item, you don't earn any more souls.
Feeble curse one. Do you really think you can manage the glories that are my spells?
So if I show now, my player status, I've got 31,211, which is pretty close, all things considered. If I'd left Alicia alone, I'd be about 29,000, which is not bad, all things considered. Right, now let's take the Agape Ring. This ring is a mandatory ring for this challenge. But I'll show you what happens. I'm going to pop back downstairs, and I'm going to go murder the explodey guys. Notice how I no longer gain souls. I no longer gain souls from enemies. This is what makes the challenge interesting. Because now I have a mere 30,000 souls in order to complete the game. And that's all bosses. Also have to do other things like try to hold on to my souls. What I might do is I might go from here back down the elevator and up towards the path that leads behind where the explosive barrel is that leads to the blacksmith's workshop. Got to try and hold on to all of these souls in the meanwhile, because the weapon that I'm looking at is quite a bit of a distance away. Wilted Dusk Herb is used to recover spell users. I'm not going to bring it up in this particular challenge because there's no reason. But it is useful. I'm going to stick the Homeward Bone on here in case I happen to whiff this. Yeah, you can see right there is the explosive barrel wall. So as soon as I drop down, I run over, push it, and I hope that the explosion kicks in. Oh, bugger. Alright, time to get to a safe point before I can... Okay. Alright. Didn't want that happening. Challenge again. I've got to try and get my souls. I'm actually pretty close to almost full holo at this stage. This is pretty risky. pretty risky. Where are my souls? Where are they? I don't see them up that way. There they are. Now I can see them a bit better. Alright. Let's try the barrel push again. Come on, come on, come on. We now have access to the bonfire. So. Have a little bit of torch time left, which is really important. So let's put a light here. That's the merchant. But you can tell he's not actually sitting here. Let's talk to him.
Oh, why can't they all be this easy? We've got a wild one here. Shape up. Shape up, I say.
It's not quite right. He's not quite all there yet.
That's the way.
He thinks he's smithing, but he's
Dear flame, how bright
that's your little hint there. If there's a light over on that torch, he'll be able to recognize that it's there. But you light the torch. This is why you need a couple of seconds at least on whatever torch you have. And when you rest again at the bonfire, he's now moved over here. Also, who can quite graciously let you take all of the stuff in his chests, including that silver one, or the metal one that he was sitting on. Again, though, no need to worry about mimics. And there's our first item that we need. The Twinkling Titanite. I need 15 Twinkling Titanites for this weapon that I'm going to use, because you need 15 Twinkling Titanites to upgrade any weapon to any special weapon to +5. I'll demonstrate briefly. Let's say
I ought to fetch a new one. Flame.
oh, that's another thing that will come up later on. You can get an ember for this guy.
I ought to fetch flame.
Yeah, true. The ember's a little bit further on up from where the shortcut was. But I'll demonstrate. The craftsman's hammer is a special weapon. So it can only be upgraded using Twinkling Titanite. Broadsword here can be upgraded using regular Titanite. Whereas I think Malformed Claws are regular. The Pyroflame has its own upgrade path. And then the Chimes, I think, also use either Titanite or Twinkling Titanite. At the moment, though, we've got everything we need from Lost Bastille. First part of this challenge is done. On to the second part. Second part of this challenge involves having to actually clear our way towards the 4 lords. And I believe one of the items that I need, pretty sure I have to wait until I actually beat all 4 of the lords. That's gonna be the tricky part. Oh, sorry, accidentally bumped the mic. Alright, I'm just double checking something here. I'm thinking I might be able to get my weapon now, and it might be worth getting the weapon. Sorry, I accidentally did not want to do that. Alright. So I think the next step that I need to go for is to actually get my weapon. But there's a couple of things that I want to do along the way. I want to open up this blacksmith. And I also want to get the key for the mansion. The key for the mansion and the key to the blacksmith here are all at the Forest of Fallen Giants. And there's a couple of items there that I also want to get along the way. Importantly, things like human effigies, more life gems. There's one of the bosses who I actually want to beat, who will drop a ring that I can use for the moment to increase my damage. There we are. Those human effigies are going to be pretty important, but at that stage, I think I don't have much of a choice except to use it there. Alright, let's head down to the Forest of Fallen Giants. Thankfully, with the Agape Ring, you can now actually be able to clear out enemies without having to worry about pushing up my soul level. Or my soul memory, I should say. Pull the switch. Oh, in case you're wondering how someone died, they've probably pulled the switch. Well, this guy's run over that way. I don't know what exactly he's fighting. Maybe he's lured an NPC from Majula over this way. You can crush yourself underneath that gate. Just letting you know, you can do it. Oh, and don't fall into the water, you will die. Except for the water up there, where you can see the rocks are. We'll drop down here. And I'll start gathering items. See, that's the human effigy. I could have gotten that one straight away, but, you know. You already get a couple in this start of the game. Better off holding on to them. Homeward Bone, very useful. Welcome to the Forest of Fallen Giants. Now, the other reason why I didn't want to come this way at the start. In the original release of this game, there was no ogre here. Now, you can say it's all ogre. From here, this is mostly about gathering items that I need. I don't need any of these souls of a lost undead or any other souls like that. If I consume them, I get no effect. Hey guys, you gotta climb up the ladder? Yeah, they do climb up the ladder. Yeah, you can ladder war up here if you really wanted to. This is also a bit of a change from the original release. This is a really rough spot if you are not used to just having to deal with the fact that you will have to kill enemies. Because there are a whole lot of enemies in this area. In the original release, there was a hide knight up here. And it's like, oh, well, it's just a guy sitting on the tree. This is the same thing actually, I think, in the network test. They go, no, hey, oh, we'll fight this guy for the challenge, and then he like absolutely destroys them. He destroys everything. Another human effigy. Alright. Two broken straight swords. Broken straight swords are hilarious in this game because they are actually super viable weapons if you infuse them with status effects, because they take like no stamina. They actually had to be nerfed. Yeah, that's right. Broken straight swords had to be nerfed in this game because the speed at which they could infuse the speed at which they could inflict status effects was like nuts. Hold on. I'm gonna go this way. So, the guys that we've been fighting are called Hollow Infantry. These guys are called Hollow Soldiers. They're meant to be a little bit tougher, but they're not so tough that you are meant to struggle with them. Mostly with Hollow Infantry, it comes down to a matter of numbers, especially as you've seen in this area. You can get swarmed very quickly. And because most of them are lying down on the ground, if you're not paying attention, you'll activate more of them. Hollow infantry, hollow soldiers, by comparison, are meant to be just that little bit tougher. You often see them with great swords, or they'll have fire bombs, as you've seen, or they might have bows. Whereas the Hollow Infantry often have things like axes. Oh yeah, backstab animations in this game are so good. I really do want to show off the spear ones, but I haven't got a spear. Alright, almost to the next bonfire. A couple more guys to go. Yeah, so where the Hollow Infantry have bows, I think the Hollow Soldiers have crossbows? Better use one of these life gems just to be on the safe side. Don't want to risk losing my souls. The archer is up top up here, I think. That's another shield if you need it, but the Crimson Palmer can be gotten a lot earlier. If you need a shield, get the Crimson Palmer. The buckler is really good if you want to parry. But if you're not good at parrying, go with the Palmer. Witching Urns, useful for throwing. Witching Urns do dark damage. So, Dark Souls 2 is also the first game to have introduced dark as an actual damage type rather than a mixture of both magic and faith. I'll show off a couple of things from here. I believe this character's name is Melanthia. I believe her name's Melanthia. And she is an item merchant. So she sells, like, if you want a good, like an axe or a club or cestus, she's got those. She's got the armor for explorers or for clerics. And she does sell a basic heal and a soul arrow in the event, for example, that you need extra of those. So this could be very useful, for example, for a sorcerer. Getting 60 casts of soul arrow out of the gate. Also, you can see here, he has Leningrast's key. We do need this. We actually don't. Now, Barris's lockstones are used, as I said, to open up little, like, locked areas. They're all optional. But it's similar to stone sword keys, where if you can unlock them, they don't necessarily lead to shortcuts, and they may not all have good things behind them. But, you know, you never quite know unless you actually know what you've memorized. Melanthia does sell a fragrant branch of yore. Very expensive. You don't want to do this. You could, but there's not much point because on the way towards... Well, actually, depending on what pathways you need to take, you could do this, right? It's not really a good idea though, because you will need a couple of fragrant branches of yore in order to get to varying places. So in order to get to the weapon that I need a second fragrant branch of yore. But I can get one from the pathway that leads past the Rotunda area. There's not a big deal about that. Guess if you really need one, you can buy it. For this challenge though, I probably wouldn't recommend this at all. Similarly, bright bugs, they are a item that you can only use when you are effectively running solo. So if you have any cooperators, whether that's NPC summons or other players, you cannot use a bright bug, but a bright bug increases your damage and reduces it. And it's another staple of the Souls genre speedruns. The item that I actually need to buy is a fireball. I just want to buy the one.
My name is Melantia.
Melantia. I thought it was Melanthia or something.
This land. Oh, we get as strangers these days. Everybody's gone and run off. Drangleic's been up a pile of rubble since the war fought long, long ago. When the giants crossed the sea.
And there's a little bit of additional lore there. There was a war here in Drangleic when the giants crossed the sea. Why they crossed the sea, you'll find out more as you get through the story. For Melantia here, buying an item from her will allow her to, will actually, next time you rest at a bonfire, will send her back off to Major. But we do need a fireball. Because... Oh, I missed a shot. Better buy another fireball. That's actually kind of embarrassing. I can afford to do this here, probably because... Actually, let me rest. There's a shortcut behind that wall, but you need a flaming projectile of some sort. Whether it's a pyromancy flame or a firebomb. I'm obviously not doing a very good job, so I might have to go look for firebombs elsewhere and then open it up just the long way around. Normally I'm pretty good at that. Alright, I want to show this off. Door's locked. You can see there's an item behind there. Break down the door. Hand axe, radiant life gem, the furniture everywhere. Maybe the other thing that's happened is I might have accidentally blown up the barrels somehow. In order to respawn the furniture, you actually have to leave the area. And then come back to here. And then that'll respawn things like the explosive barrels behind there. Night shards, don't need those. Alright. Please tell me this is a human effigy or something. Radiant life gems. The small white soapstone allows you to be summoned as a phantom. I'll talk about that right now. The small white soapstone allows you to be summoned as a phantom to assist other players. Now there's a white soapstone which allows you to summon out until you beat the boss. The small white soapstone only allows you to summon out for a couple of minutes or until the boss is beat. What's the deal between the two? Well, the small white soapstone allows for a little bit more flexibility in the range at which you summon, or you can be summoned to. Get a little bit more flexibility in how far you can be summoned with a small white soapstone as opposed to using the regular white soapstone. In case you're wondering how you get back out of here, that way. Human effigy. I'll briefly show. Ooh. Briefly show something wild down here. This is actually a dead end anyway. Don't worry too much about this. This is just me gathering items. First things first, another torch. Very helpful. Calm down, calm down. Thank you. 1, 2. Alright. Water Knight, don't want to try and deal too much with that. That is a salamander. You only ever see it in this area, and you see it up there as well. They're very dangerous. They're like the equivalent of Elden Ring bears. Whole lot of work, whole lot of damage for not much payoff. The thing I wanted to show from here. Don't worry, the Taurus Knight can't climb up. So, right up there is actually another area that you're not normally able to get to until later on in the game. But you can get to that area using a jump. A very specific jump. The angle's really tight. And you need a certain amount of HP. This amount of HP is not enough. In fact, there's another item that I need to obtain in order to even attempt that jump. And if you get up there, there's a bonfire up there that you can get to so you don't have to make the jump again. And that item down there, that's a fragrant branch of yore. So if you get that fragrant branch of yore by making the jump, and by the way, I'll say this, on a Soul Memory 30k challenge, you'll only make the jump with the knights. Because the knight's the only character at the start of the game to get enough HP by using rings in order to make that jump. This game does have fall damage. And fall damage can be brutal. Bombs, unfortunately. Alright, we're gonna have to probably do this the long way around. I might buy one more firebomb just to be on the safe side. In the event that I haven't gotten... In the event that I haven't blown up the barrels lead to the shortcut, you can go this way and just do it manually. This is the way you go towards the other area that you need to get to. And you can see down the bottom, salamanders right there. From here, if you are crazy enough, you can attempt a plunging attack of salamander. And if you land the plunging attack, you'll live. For sure. But then you're down there and you're fighting salamanders. I think I'll have to go down that way though. Now, unlike the previous door, back to this door. Unlike the previous door, which was just above where Melentia was, the one which looked broken, but it said it was locked, you can't break down this door. You do need the key. So, some doors can be broken down, others can't. let's go into this area. There's an NPC out this way who actually has the key to the mansion. Let's try to get that key. Now, you may think the way to go is actually down, but it's not. Down only leads you down to here. I'll demonstrate that there's nothing down here at all. This is just a spot you can land in case you fall down off the branches, and then, you know, that's where you live. In reality, the way that you kind of have to go is... Where are you? No, that's the other entrance. Oh, jeez. Yeah, oh, yeah. Headshots are a thing. Headshots are a thing. And they're brutal. Don't jump down that way. That's a trap. You kind of... If you fall down here, you kind of have to go back up around. And that's a whole nother area over there. Don't worry about that item. That gate doesn't open. Then again, if you're going that way, you know you have to deal with Tortoise Knights. So, what's the way to go? I'm trying to remember. So used to there being the ladder around here. I think I have to make the jump. Yeah, we have to make the jump over here. So you make this jump. Drop down here. Oh yeah. Indiana Jones. Don't worry about it. It's the only boulder. Let's say hello to Kale the cartographer.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just daydreaming, I think. My name is Kale. I'm a traveler like yourself. I'm navigating the continent to create a map. Why cartography, you ask? Well, that's a good question. When I first came into this forsaken land, it was... a curse?
Yep.
Something about a curse?
Just like everyone else.
How embarrassing. I seem to have lost my focus. But I do know one thing for certain. I have always been very fond of maps. I came to this land some time ago.
Alright, come on, Kale.
Drangleic, the Lost Kingdom. It sounded so romantic. Have you seen Majula? Oh, there's a rather spacious mansion.
Here we go. So, Kale is the person who has the
I
key
made it my temporary home.
to the mansion.
Well, as something of a squatter, I'm afraid. Inside the mansion, I found a strange map, like none I'd ever seen. I believe that it's a map of Drangleic. Now I'm traveling the land to prove it. Yes, that's it. That's why I came to the kingdom.
The curse, you can see the effects there. It's...
No, that wasn't
As
it.
you lose more of what makes you human and you become more and more hollow,
I don't seem to recall.
you tunnel in on other ideas in order to try and maintain your humanity.
Wonderful. Then you're
In this case,
fascinated
Kale's
by
not
maps,
sure if he's
just like
even
me.
about maps,
Shame on you.
but he's latched
You
onto
should
it
have told
as
me before.
a goal to try and keep himself human.
Here, take this. A key to the mansion. What a joy to meet a kindred spirit out here. Incredible, really, isn't it? Such a map to be chiseled in stone. Oh, but one thing. I would not venture deep into the mansion. Now, I can't be certain, but I've heard disturbing noises.
Oh, we'll get to those in a bit.
Something about it feels wrong. Just be careful, please.
We'll get to those disturbing noises in a bit.
I'll be back. Perhaps we...
But for the moment, oh no, all these people have picked up the item and then one person picked up the item and then fell down. If you're wondering where the boulder went, the boulder's gone down this way, and you can probably tell by the bloodstains. There's been a bunch of people who all didn't quite notice that there's actually just an infinite bottomless hole down there. Yeah, that's a fun one. It leaves the question of who's actually pushed the boulder. You could argue it was Kale. And it makes the most sense if it is Kale. Otherwise, it's a little disturbing to think who else has pushed the boulder. Either way, we've got everything we need from here. Time to head back out. I think we just drop down here for another torch. Oh no, that's not... That's right, we have to go tree climbing, don't we? Yeah. So in order to get back out of here... Yeah, oh, by the way, talking about fall damage. That was one small step down there, and that was about 10% of my health. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Is it... I feel like it's over there is the... Yeah, up there I think is the exit. Jeez, I'm trying to remember my way around this area. Yeah, there it is. Beautiful. Welcome to your first encounter with a tortoise knight. Make this a little bit more funny, by making him explode the barrels. Who shot me? As for the tortoise knight, this is like an old tortoise knight. They're pretty heavily armored, but they're old guys. See, there's the explosive barrels. You was. Oh, shield and spear hollow soldiers are like the worst. Alright, I'm going to attempt to... I'm going to attempt to glitch one of the bosses. So, let's talk about one of the two bosses that are in this area. One of the bosses is called the Last Giant. For a lot of players, this is often the first boss they encounter that they can actually beat. But there's a little step ladder that leads up to that area, and you can have an early encounter with a boss called the Pursuer. If you don't beat the Pursuer here, you can fight the Pursuer further on. Or you can just ignore this area and fight the Pursuer at its regular area. The Pursuer is the other boss, and the Pursuer is the boss that you would have to beat in order to get to the other area of the Lost Bastille. Now, there's a certain trick that you can do with the boss here. Let me see if I can pull it off. Let's see if I can pull this off. We jump this way, run around, and then don't know if I've got it. I think I might have stuffed it up. I think I might have stuffed that one up. Yeah, I did. Unfortunately, I fell down at the end. So, that's alright. I'll explain. The glitch is pretty straightforward, or the bug's pretty straightforward. The Pursuer flies around using an eagle as support. When you get to a certain elevation up the ladder, that spawns the eagle and the Pursuer. To drop the Pursuer off there. If you happen to jump across the gap from up here to up there. See, I'll do it across now, right? And then you run across here and you make your way back to the bonfire in time. You actually cause the eagle to despawn. And the Pursuer kind of just glitches out of bounds and falls to its death. Which effectively means you get a free win. Oh. But, alas, it's not like the Pursuer is hard to beat. It's really funny if you can do it that way. Alright. Prepare to have fun. This is the Forest of Fallen Giants. This was one of the active war fronts against said giants, and you can see just behind the wall there are ballista. Always fun. Jeez Louise, I got spanked. Alright, better get my souls back. Oh yeah. Melentia is still there because we haven't left the Forest of Fallen Giants yet. Jeez Louise, welcome to Spears. Yeah, spear guys in this game, the spear hollows are the worst because they do the shield play. Oh yeah, the heal gets interrupted. It's okay. better use a life gem. Thankfully, the ballista are only one use. They're one use only. Also, if you need Greater Soul Arrow, you can pick that up there. Great Soul Arrow versus Soul Arrow is a little bit of a debate, because it's unclear if one's actually better than the other. Oh, let's talk about something fun. So this chest, out on its own, show the message, be wary of trap, is entirely correct. But this chest is trapped. Here's the fun thing. There are two types of traps. Arrows, which fire 5 arrows in a 180-degree spread, or poison gas, which spits out gas in a 360-degree cloud all around. Of course, there's still mimics. Here's the fun one. Another fun thing here. Does not open from the side. Door locked. Let's knock on the door. And someone opens the door for us. This is one of those few times when you can actually get a door knocked. Oh, and in case you want to know, that's a Pharos locked. There's a Pharos lock down there. I get the trying to get the guard break. There's a move you can do in order to break someone's guard when they're doing that. Beautiful. A winged spear. Actually, that might be really nice to show off. In here is a life ring. So, if you have the life ring, and you have, I think the blue seal, the life ring, and I think you're about maximum HP. I think you can survive the jump. I think that's enough you need to survive the jump for the skip. Or I think you need about 1200 HP. I can't be sure. Alright. Let's talk to this guy. He looks friendly.
Hello there. Traveling all alone in these treacherous times. Well, I hope you have a very good reason. Oh, hogwash. Who am I to judge? My name is Pate. I journey hither and thither on a sort of treasure hunt, you might call it. Be careful out there. There's talk of unsavory bandits who prey upon travelers like yourself. Oh yes, you be cautious if you go any farther. There's treasure in there for certain, but the entrance locks from behind. I saw the same design earlier, and it's the same contraption, I'm sure. I was with this warrior, you see, and he insisted that he go inside first. The rather brusque fellow tried to swipe the lid for himself, but it trapped him inside. I still have the gent's ring. I do hope he wasn't harmed. I'll leave this one to you. I'm worried about what might be inside.
This is Pate. Please do not confuse Pate for Patches. It's a little bit of a thrower because Dark Souls 2 is the only game that does not feature patches. And you can tell already Pate's a different personality from Patches. He's more like, yeah, you know what, if you walk in here and you go for the treasure, you know what you're getting yourself into. He's not going to actively pull the trigger on you. We're going to go in there though. There's some items in here that we can pick up. He's right though. Once you go a certain distance in, the gate shuts. And here come a whole bunch of guys. See, this is manageable. And that's it. Once you take out these guys, you're free to go in, get the treasure. As for the reason I wanted to come up this way, Aromatic Ooze is a buff that I can... It's one of those items you can use to buff your weapon. Oozes work a little differently from how you might think. So, oozes buff your weapon by a certain amount, and... I'll talk about that a little bit later. Oozes buff your weapon by a certain amount, and they also add a little bit of extra magic damage. In reality, you get about 60 damage. So if your weapon has no type... so for this case, the ooze, and I'll just show it off. Where are you? Here we are. If your weapon has no magic damage, you get about 60 magic damage out of it. I think it was about 60, or it was about something like that. Or it was about 90. It adds a small amount and then adds a little bit extra. In this case, it's basically just a bit of extra damage for free.
Well, I see you managed to escape. I hope that brave warrior didn't come a cropper either. Be careful out there. There's talk of unsavory bandits who prey upon travelers like yourself. Oh, but you should take this. It allows undead to call out for help to one another across the fissures between worlds. With luck, somebody will lend you a hand.
Yeah. And that's, you know, that's effectively what Pate does. And I'm going to say Pate's not entirely innocent. We'll meet the other character that Pate was talking about a little bit later on. That's a winged spear up there. Let's talk about this guy over here. Welcome to one of the... Welcome to one of the things that's the lore behind Drangleic. The hollow soldiers appear to be attacking a tree. The tree is actually in the shape of a giant. The hollow soldiers, even to this time, are still trying to follow their orders to fight the giants as part of the war. Alas, nothing happened. That's not just a tree. You won't come back to that until later on, and if you want to, you don't have to. But it is additional additional information, additional rewards if you so wish. Spo? Yeah, you gotta watch out for these guys with the shields and the rapiers. They will try to parry you. I believe this has a crossbow in it? No, the mail breaker in the infantry helm. The mail breaker falls into the thrusting sword category and is... It's actually like okay for a thrusting sword. But if I was purchasing a weapon for this challenge, I would purchase a thrusting sword for sure. As it stands, I don't really want to purchase a thrusting sword because of things like, you know, the fire bombs, whether I'm able to land that shot or not. I need the extra goals up my sleeve just in case. But I know I'm going to spend a fair few on... Jeez Louise, I thought I landed that backstab. Something happened there. Alright. Come on down. Come on down. Back to neutral and the life gems. You do... Well, swing, thank you. Alright, that's a few too many life gems having been used. Alright. Head therefore be wary of enemy. Correct. When you run up to that item, you'll get ambushed. I think I've lured the enemy out though. Beautiful. See, there's 4 of them up there, right? You guys okay? Nah, they're all stuck. Alright. Think we're clear. Think I'm clear. Oh yeah, that's a lot of people getting blown away. As for how you get up here, that's actually a slightly different path. That's after the pursuer. For the moment though, I kind of need to go fight the lost The last giant. However, shortcut. Alright, the last giants can be very easy. But there's one thing I have to do as part of this. One thing actually, it's not how I have to, but I want to do it as part of this. So, we talked to Pate before. And talking to Pate is going to allow me to actually summon him as a NPC for the last giant. If I summon Pate for the last giant and then beat the last giant while Pate's still alive, he'll move on to his next location, and that way I can progress his part of the story. As I mentioned before, we will meet another individual who can be summoned. Not summoned. Who is related to Pate's story. You can see here, that's Pate. And this small stone here, that allows you to summon out a character by the name of Sellsword Luet. You might be going, why does Luet have two shields? Luet is meant to represent a sort of tanker playstyle, so Luet has a red-eye ring on him. He draws more attention, and then he uses the shields as a way to tank enemy hits. He's not very good at it, but, you know. Let's go introduce ourselves to the last giant. Notice how it looks very similar to the trees on the outside? Especially the tree that was being attacked by the hollow soldiers. Don't worry, he doesn't move anywhere near as fast as that normally. Start recognizing the attack patterns for the bigger guys that you see in Elden Ring, the big bow giants. And it's like, hey, I recognize that move set. 3 stomps. Now, in case you're wondering what the soldier key does, that opens up 2 specific doorways. One of which leads to an optional area. If you remember where I went outside before on the pathway to get Kale, I showed an area where there was a Tortoise Knight over there, and I said, you know, we don't have to worry about that area just yet. I'll go this way just to show it off. I'll just go this way to show it off, but this is one of the doors that can be opened with the soldier key. And it leads to a small optional area. By the way, let's go over some of the other weapons that I've picked up. Winged Spear, really nice, has a high dexterity requirement. Can't do it with this build. Hammer, I can bop people with, and you know what? It'll do extra damage. but I can only two-hand the weapon. And X. Fun, nice, simple. Let's show off the straight swords, actually. The broken straight swords are a really good thing to show off with the power stance mechanic. So, left, right, left. This is basic moveset. I haven't done anything at all. And you can see I can just keep swinging. First things first. Stop that. Now, if I press X, or if I press Y once, I two-hand the weapon. However, if I have, I think it's about 1.5 times the stat requirement of the weapon with the highest stat requirements. In this case, they both have 2 strength, 3 dexterity as a requirement. And I press and hold Y. Now shifted my stance. And this is power stancing. Notice how the moveset for the right hand still remains the same. But now the moveset on the left hand changes. Now, Elden Ring does this automatically, but I think that is a bad idea. Because now you have power stance heavy, light attacks, power stance heavy attacks. Let me see if I can do it with the hand axe and say... We'll take a short sword, maybe. Or broken thief sword. We can see here, I go axe. And then dagger. Don't have the moveset ability because... this one, I believe, requires... is the higher one. I think it's because it's I think it's a dexterity requirement. This should work. Let me try switching it around. Or I can go say, we'll use the broken straight sword. Come on, one of these is going to work. Something's going on. Unless it's double the stat requirement. It might be double the stat requirement. In which case I wouldn't have enough. I think, yeah, it's double the stat requirement, but basically... when you have double the stat requirement, I think that's when you can power stance the weapon regardless of whatever type it is. I will summon this guy out. He's like a magic user. And you can see he's a shade. He's an NPC shade. He'll last for a couple of minutes. Welcome to Skelly Town. Alright, so Ruined Alphys will only last for a short amount of time. In the meanwhile, I want to make use of his services for as long as I can. Thankfully, these skellies don't have to be hit multiple times after they're knocked down. Welcome to the final little hidden area of the Forest of Fallen Giants, or second to last little area. Alright. And that's Armor Dennis. NPC invasion. There's Armor Dennis there. Oh, jeez. All right. Okay. Armor Dennis has got the magic on him. To be honest, that caught me off guard. Soul Greatsword, I believe that was. And I think because I am now undead, I cannot summon. It's a shame, because I don't really want to burn another human effigy for that. I mean, if I can summon Ruined Alphas, I will, but I don't think I can. Yeah, you have to be human. All right, come on. Skellies, black firebombs. A couple more skellies up ahead. I think it's what, 3 more? And then we're back here again with the outdoor area. That's it for the skellies. Instead, I'll go here. We'll take out... one and 2. Go up the ladder. Because Dennis should only spawn once I go up towards the chest. Up down. Hoping that's all of these guys dead. Oh, how much HP do you have? We've got about half. Alright, we'll do this the fun way. 1, to... run in. There we go. Cracked red eye orbs. You use those to temporarily invade people. Well, I say temporarily because you can get a permanent red eye orb, but that requires you to actually progress through the PvP. Yeah, so you have to progress through the PvP Covenant and actually rank up in that. The only way to rank up in the PvP Covenant is actually to win arena battles. So the PvP Covenant works in that you use cracked red eye orbs to invade players, and when you beat the player, you win a token that you can then use to enter into the arena. You win in the arena and earn a item, the item that you use to rank up your Covenant ranking in the PvP Covenant. Dennis, buddy. Yeah, in case you're wondering, Dennis uses a weapon called it's the Blue Flame. Yeah, the Blue Flame is a sword that can act as a catalyst for casting spells. There we go. So it's a sword that can act as a catalyst for casting spells. It's something you only obtain later on. Oh yeah, in case you really want to, that's a bonfire for this area. Don't have to. But, in case you're chasing after the lore related to the giants, that's why you have a bonfire down here. Regardless, there's only a little bit more that we actually have to do here. Let's go over then to the other area where we need to fight the other boss in this Forest of Fallen Giants. That being the Pursuer. I was hoping to have landed the glitch on him, but alas. Now, to get to the Pursuer, you need to have beaten the last giant. Well, that is to say, to get to the area where the Pursuer arena is, you need to have beaten the last giant. Because you need the key that the last giant drops. Hence why it's not efficient either to go this way. But this door opens it up. Here we go. Oh yeah, if you beat the Pursuer in the area where you can early encounter him, you don't have to deal with this. Makes sense. But this is the Pursuer. The Pursuer serves as your introduction as well to two mechanics. Number one is your own ability to use the environment against enemies. And number two is the curse mechanic. Also, the pursuer is Italy. Because it's about which way do you roll around. In this case, most of the time you want to roll around the left. That's a grab attack. Just letting you know, if you get grabbed by that, yeah, if you don't roll the correct way against the pursuer, you get bombed. Yeah, if you get hit by the grab, you get hit by mechanical curse, which immediately reduces your I guess, following by 1, or increases your hollowing state by 1. So you can be, you get hit by a curse attack, and then you are immediately down to hollow. But the pursuer is not too hard if you just roll the correct way, which is rolling towards his left, your right. You saw I still got hit by a couple of attacks here and there, but it's not as bad as if you try to roll. No, stop. It's not as bad as if you try to roll around towards his right. Speaking of undead hollow soldiers attacking knights, or attacking a giant, we don't have to worry about that. Oh, in case you're wondering, the area before, this one here, that's how you get to this item. Drangleic sword, Drangleic mail. Drangleic stuff is okay, actually. It's pretty good early on. Like, make no mistake, that's pretty solid items if you've got the stats to wield. It's hard to argue if it's hard to think if the Drangleic weapons hold up past sort of the early game. But that's going to be the case one way or the other. Anyway, let's go to the Lost Bastille from here. Now, how do you get to the Lost Bastille from here? Well, take an air ride. Thankfully, no one can despawn you out, and then you fall to your death at this point. But this takes you to the other side of the Lost Bastille. In case you are wondering, human effigies, and the dull ember. And there was a blacksmith in here looking for an ember. This is why... Oh, by the way, in case you are wondering, that tower is the same tower in which you actually pick up the key to get through. I might try to show it off, actually. Hold on. Nice and easy. I'm gonna go rest at the bonfire first. I'm down a flask. Oh, by the way, you can burn human effigies. If you burn an effigy at a bonfire, it sets up a little timer that prevents you from being invaded while the human effigy has been burned. I'm trying to remember if there's a cooldown associated with that. Have fun down there. Oh. Heal these bloodstains. Let me show you why he's called the Pursuer. This is a new attack. And you can see I got cursed. There we go. Twinkling title at number 2. Like I said, I need like 15 of those things for what I'm thinking of using. Yep, that is the curse mechanic at work. And the Pursuer is a enemy that you will fight at varying points of the game. There we go. I should, while I'm here, let's talk to this person.
What is it? I don't know you, and you don't know me. Things are better that way. You are an odd one. Normally, people keep a safe distance when they see this mask. But you... I'm called Lucatil. From the land of Mira to the far east, across the mountains. They say Drangleic brims with powerful souls. And so I came to claim my share. But what a strange place. Even the rumors did not prepare me. You are an odd one indeed. I've always made a point of avoiding people, while you've made a point of engaging me. I can see that you are mid-journey. If you require assistance, I will help you. I come from Mirror, a land of knights. My sword is always ready. Don't hesitate to call upon me. Whatever happens, I won't be missed.
So, Lucatiel of Mirror, a character, a traveling swordsman from the east, or a knight, as she sort of more is like, with a little bit of a cynical sort of death streak, per se. A little bit of a cynical streak here. I think I'm pretty much in a good spot to try and wrap things up here. But I'm gonna give our blacksmith friend here the ammo.
I'm Macduff the blacksmith. All I want is a little flame. So, hand that ember to me. Right now, you imbecile.
Yeah. So, there are more embers you can obtain throughout the game. When you obtain an ember, you can hand it to Macduff. Embers are used to reinforce weapons with varying attributes, either changing their attribute to say fire or magic or lightning damage. But any of those have to come to here, to Macduff. The blacksmith at Majula cannot do that. But now that I've given Macduff an ember, I should show off one. Number one, you cannot upgrade armor. Number two, the difference between, say, here. Notice how the Drangleic sword requires Twinkling Titanite, whereas the axe or the hammer that I'm using also does. But a lot of the other weapons only require Titanite shards. Even the shields can be upgraded. I'll leave that alone for the moment. Still need to obtain the weapon that I need. I might go back to then to Majula. I think next. So one of the things that I picked up from the chest, where the pursuer was, I'll talk about this again next week. Where are you? I picked myself up another fragrant branch of yore. With a fragrant branch of yore, I can use that to open up a pathway to a whole nother area. In fact, I have two pathways I can go to, because I also have this. As for which way I'll go, we can explore both of those next week. But I think next week, I'm definitely down to try and get the weapon that I need for this run. One that I'm thinking. But for now, I'll call things there. So, this has actually been a pretty long stream. I love talking about this game. I really do. But if you've been watching along, or you've been watching after the fact, as always, I'd like to thank you very much for your time, and I do hope you have a wonderful day.